Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good tentacles. We're back with some more card pack openings. We've gone through, I want to say 20 packs already, and we've got quite a lot left. So we've had our first legendary a couple of episodes back. Was that, to be fair, quite a disappointing legendary, but we've seen some exciting cards. I've actually cut a wee break from opening these packs. It's been about a day since I've last recorded these, and I've had a shot of some of them, and there are some really good cards in here. So let's take this first pack and place it down on the opening. So let's have a look. So we always like to start at the top. So if we turn it over, so we get Divine Strength. It's a handy little buff, but as I said, you're potentially using 2 cards just to get the advantage of, one card with 1 more mana. Very situational, I think. I can't really see it being overly used, Divine Strength. Unless you're kind of... I don't see it being used to me. If you're playing a 1 or 2 mana minion, if you're playing this on top of it and it's not really getting any benefit, is you're better just waiting the turn. I might give you a bit of tempo here or there, but Divine Strength, it's one of these ones that you always have to be wary about, because you don't want to buff a minion, then for it to get silenced, and then you've lost the benefit of a card and mana. So let's move over, and we have our next one. So we've recognised this card before. It's the Evolved Kobold. It's just an extra +1 spell damage over the regular Kobold, but it costs an extra 2 mana. So the regular Kobold at 2 mana for a 2/2 spell damage +1, very, very rarely got played. A 4 mana for 2/2 +2, that's still not going to be played. I can maybe understand if further down the line there's a Kobold themed expansion, but right now it's not a card that would be getting used. So we've got our first rare of this episode. If we just skip over that one, we'll open up the next one. Now we see the Spawn of N'Zoth, the 3 mana for 2/2, and it gives all your minions +1/+1 when it dies. Now, I have been trying to use this. I'm not convinced it's as good as I initially thought. The reason for it is that you maybe only got maybe 2 or 3 minions on the board at a time, and it's difficult to make it stick with other minions before this one gets killed off. So I have been using it, and it has given me benefit, but it's not as great as I initially thought. I did try and have a game where he's Forbidden Tentacles in this, but they got consecrated, which is the arrow effect to damage, and they all died, and it was quite disappointing because I thought it was really cool. Never mind. So we'll open up this next one, and we see N'Zoth's First Mate. Now this is a card that we've seen before. It's a 1/1 for 1. It does give your warrior though a 1/3 weapon, so that's useful to try and get rid of low cost minions that might ordinarily be kind of starting to get in the face of the warrior. So I do think this is a pretty decent card. Now we have the rare. Now, if we turn it over, let's just click it. And we see the Eater of Secrets. Now we've seen this guy before. So I have noticed that there are still secrets getting played, primarily by mages. I've not seen any paladin decks using secrets recently. So it's there. It's one of these what you'd probably call a tech card. So you can swap it in depending on how the current kind of meta is running. So for example, if it turns out that there's quite a lot of, you're kind of facing a lot of paladins, for example, then you pop this one in and take out maybe something else, and it can help out there. I mean, it is good, don't get me wrong, it is good, and definitely, you know, can help. And in fact, I might think about trying to pop one into one of my decks, so we'll wait and see. So we'll grab our second pack and pop it down. What should we do? The slime, and then move over. We get the rare card straight away. So you've probably noticed by now, but all packs have a rare card in them at least. Sometimes it can be upgraded to the epic or legendary, but you'll always get at least one rare. So we get Power Word Tentacles. We've seen this card before, 5 mana for a 2/6. It's a nice buff, but it is expensive, and thus potentially you're wasting it if the minion gets silenced or just destroyed straight away by a card. So I do like it just for buffing things up. I've not found a space for it yet, as you know, 5 mana is always rather crowded, and no matter what kind of decks you run. So for example, you've got Azure Drake, you know, if you're playing Dragon Priest, there's a couple other 5 mana cards there as well. So it's a difficult one to find a spot for, but you know, there is a possibility. So we actually get a second rare in this pack, so we'll just skip past that one and we'll go to our next uncommon. So if we turn it over, we get the, you know, Identical Off. Now again, we've seen this card before. Death Rattle, deal 1 damage to all minions. So I think it's going to be pretty good for warriors. You know, there's limited space, limited scope for it elsewhere. If I remember rightly, you used to get Explosive Sheep, and that was Death Rattle 2 damage to all minions. So it was like, maybe it was a 2 for 1/1? I can't remember now. So basically it's just the natural sort of follow up to it. So this is the second time we've seen this card. It's a 1/4 for 2 taunt. It's naturally better than the Patriarch by Ironbark. Patriarch, I think it's 1 mana less, whereas the Gorilla is a 3 mana for 1/4, although it is a beast. Battlecry gave you a fun taunt. It is a taunt as well, so that's probably going to be okay for, you know, warrior control decks where you want to kind of have the game slowing down a bit. You can pop a 2 mana 1/4 down. Your Kafun's getting taunt plus. You know, you've got a body in the way to stop and slow down your enemy, your opponent. I still think you're probably going to find better cards though. So we'll go to our first rare that we've seen in this pack. Let's have a look at this. So, Thistle Tea. Draw a card, add 2 extra copies of it to your hand. Now for 6 mana, that's actually really good. So really, you are drawing 3 cards for 6 mana. Well, it's very much dependent on what the card is. You don't want to get lumbered with something rubbish, but if you're building your deck, you know, this could be quite good. I do like this card. I think it's a very strong card there for rogues. Definitely could see it being used, and it's one of these ones that hopefully I can look at and find a way to make my rogue playing, well, actually existent, as rogues I do find very tricky. So we'll go down to our final rare card of this pack and turn it over. Now what do we get? So, oh, that's good. Now the Ancient Shield Bearer. I think we've maybe seen this card before. I can't remember if I have, but 7 mana for 6/6. You know, it's a solid enough body. It is expensive, don't get me wrong, really, for the mana cost in that, but the battle cry is quite good. So by this point, by turn 7, very likely that your Kafon will either be very close to or will have 10 attack. It does start at 6/6. So you're playing this and you're getting 10 armor pretty much straight away. That's got to be a really good card for the warrior, Giffen, control type decks. So that's nice, that's a good card to have for warriors. Definitely could see it being used. Expensive, but gives you that extra 10 armor. So that was packs 1 and 2 done. So we're on to pack number 3. Let's drop it on the board and have a look. So we've got eyeball here, and we get the Bilefin Tidehunter. Now this is the second, maybe third time we've seen this happy chap. Said it's a Murloc that's been infected by the old gods. He summons a 1/1 ooze with taunt. Keep in mind, of course, that the ooze isn't a Murloc, so it's not necessarily a straight upgrade, but it does give that 1/1 which naturally protects the 2/1. So it is good. Whether they're using the ooze is going to be worth it in that 2 spot, we'll see. We'll see. I could definitely see it being used though, just because Murlocs. Oh wow! So we get our epic here. So we'll jump over and we'll skip the epic. We'll come back to that, and we get our second South Sea Squidface. 4 mana for 4/4. It gives your weapon +2 attack, and it's a pirate. So that does allow the rogue to get a little bit of benefit as long as they do have a weapon in play. Yeah, it's a good card. Will it be used? I've not faced any rogues that are using it. It's not to say that they aren't and they just haven't drawn it, and maybe only played 1 or 2 rogues, but it's a card that at least it's got something at the end of it for the poor. A rogue, it's not just a rubbish body. There's a weapon there, but I think it's one of these ones you really would need to see. So that's our rare card, which we'll jump over, and we'll just turn over the next one. So this is the Flame Reefed Faceless. 4 mana for a 7/7 with Overload 2. Overload means you pay 2 mana the following turn. In effect, you're paying in advance for the card. I have used it. I've actually tried it out in a Shaman deck, and it's great. It really does wreck faces. It's such a big body that you're forced to, or your opponents are forced to deal with it straight away. Very good card in my opinion. Very good card for Shamans, and it's only an uncommon as well, so I get a feeling I'm going to be seeing more and more of these as I level up for this season. So we'll move back to the rare card that we've got here, and we'll turn it over. We don't want to go to the epic, always like to leave important ones till last. And we see the Sylphid Swarmer. Again, it's a pretty poor card. It's, you're getting a +1 health for its downside, and its downside's fairly impacting. So it's a card I really can't see being used ever. There might be something, there might be some sort of way around it, but it's just, again, generally a fairly poorly designed card, that one. So we've got the epic now. So we've seen a couple of epics. We've seen Forbiddens, the different versions of it. Can't remember any of our other epics. I have forgotten them already, unfortunately. But if we just turn it over, we get Forbidden Healing. So this is the Paladin Healing. Spend all your mana, restore twice that much health. So that's quite good actually. It's so you get 5 mana would heal you for 10 health. So that's a good heal for paladins. Gives you that situation that you can control it. You know, if you don't need that much health, you just make sure you either use your hero power or you cast a couple of spells or abilities here. So Forbidden Healing does look like a fairly good card, and it's keeping with that Forbidden. I actually thought that was going to be what the Priest one was, so I'm keen to see actually what the Priest and actually the others are. I could look them up, but it almost feels like spoiling surprise. So this is pack number 4, which means you start in the bottom left. So, oh, here's a new one. Actually, it's not, we've seen this one quite early on. It's the Nerubian Prophet. 6 mana for a 4/4. At the start of your turn, reduce this card's cost by 1. I'm not sure if that actually also includes being in your hand. I mean, does it include being in your deck? It's something I'm going to have to try out, you know. So it's just in your deck. It could eventually, you know, you pull it and it's going to be a 0 mana 4/4. I get the feeling you're going to need to have it in your hand though. So we have the rare, which means we move straight on to our uncommon one here, and it's the Dark Arakoa. It's a solid taunt, 5/7 for 6 mana, and gives you a Kafun +3/+3. I've tried the Kafun deck out with my Druid. Sluggish. Actually, to be fair, I actually think the first 3 or 4 games I did play Kafun, I forgot to actually have Kafun in my deck. So I think there's definitely potential there. I'll need to experiment more with it though. It is an expensive body though, so you need to be able to make sure it does get out and it does stay alive and just doesn't get wiped out by everything. So we'll move on now to our next uncommon card and turn it over. Now we get Kafun's Chosen. This is a really good card. I've used it. Not only is it giving you a Kafun +2/+2, but it's also just a 4 mana for 4/2 with Divine Shield. So it's going to trade up, you know, almost everything. I mean, this would naturally trade against the Dark Arakoa because it's got the Divine Shield, so it could hit it twice. You don't even need to use a Battle Cry. I've actually been using this in my Warlock deck, and my Warlock deck doesn't actually even have Kafun in it. So I actually think it's quite good. I might actually include Kafun just, you know, for fun, but we'll wait and see. But the card itself is a really good, solid card in my opinion. You're getting good value. You can trade it up. It's definitely a very good card, the Kafun's Chosen. So we'll now move down to our next uncommon, and we can have a little look. Let me see. So this is the Ravaging Ghoul. Battle Cry, deal 1 damage to all other minions. We've seen this guy before. Again, it's that 1 damage to other minions that warriors tend to like. Lets them use a lot of their bits and pieces to try and draw the game up. So they've got quite a lot of cards that either, you know, they enrage, it can take damage, or however they draw armor or pull armor or draw cards. So, you know, yeah, it's a good card, definitely a good card for warriors. Also, just a 3 for 3/3 is relatively solid. I mean, it'll trade up, it'll trade rather with you know, most 2-cost minions here or there. And yeah, obviously you're getting your +1 damage, so actually it's probably trading up against the 3/4, or in this case, the 6. But it doesn't really count. I'd also naturally just break Divine Shield, so that could be handy. So let's have a look at our rare. So let's have a look. This is a Cult Sorcerer. This is a new one, I believe. It's 2 mana for 3/2. That's a standard body. Spell damage +1. And after you cast a spell, give your Kafun +1/+1. So it's a 3/2 for 2 mana, with the spell damage +1. That's solid. it's a natural improvement over the kobold, just due to the fact is it's, you know, an extra damage there. It's a good card for mages, although they do have in that 2 mana mark, they will have things like the Sorcerer's Apprentice, it reduces mana cost, so it's one of these ones that it's good that you can drop it as 2 mana, it's giving you your +1 damage, so if you do need to buff up a spell or ability, you can probably do most spells, you know, by placing this first and then doing it, so that looks to be a good card. So we've got our final pack today. I wonder if we're going to get a legendary. Don't think we'll get a legendary here though. So it's our third Nerubian Prophet, second one for this episode. Again, I need to find out if this actually reduces it while it's not in your hand. I don't think it will do, but you never know. So we see, we've also seen this one with Twilight Geomancer. Taunt, Battle Cry, give your fun taunt as well. It's a 2 mana, 1/4. It's okay, as I said, you know, it might be alright for like a warrior. It might want to buff up taunt minions, but there's probably better things you could use in that 2 mana mark. So we found our rare, which means we jump past it, and we go, and we get Stand Against Darkness. 5 mana, summon 5, 1/1 Silverhand Recruits. And yeah, it's fairly decent. Potentially you can, you know, if you've got the Spawn of the Zoth out, you could actually, you know, play with Spawn, return 4, and then suicide it to get the, you know, buff on with Silverhand Recruits. So that's an option there. I think it's naturally it's 5 mana. Oh, and of course you do get other Silverhand Recruits buffing cards as well currently. So we'll move on to our final uncommon, and we actually see, now we've seen the shiny golden version of this. It's basically an Elvish Archer. Deal 1 damage, summon a 1/1 Mastiff. Not entirely sure why the rather bad play drawn dog is purple. It's maybe just because of the colour behind it, but it's a mediocre card. They said you can get the massive. I suppose you get the, for 1 man you're getting a beast, so you know it's maybe good when it's used with kill command. So that means that you're always guaranteed to get your maximum damage. So kill command is 3 damage or 5 damage if you've got a beast. I'm assuming the Mastiff will be a beast, so you can almost always guarantee a beast on your table or your deck, whatever, with only 1 mana. And it does an extra 1 damage. So we've got our final card of this episode, a rare. And it is the Mire Keeper. Let's have a look. So 4 mana for a 3/3. Choose one, summon a 2/2 slime, or gain an empty mana crystal. That's very good actually. Druids like to ramp up quite quickly their mana, so they like to try and get a high amount of mana before other classes, allowing them to put down bigger minions before the opponents can really deal with them or have the mana to deal with them. This is actually also good as it allows you then to, instead of it being just a 3/3 for 4 mana, you can, you know, have a 2/2 slime out if you need. I don't think you'd ever really take the 2/2 slime. I can't see many situations where you'd probably take the 2/2 slime over the empty mana crystal, unless of course you draw it towards the end of the game, in which case you don't want the empty mana crystal. So actually, yeah, this is giving you not a dead card, so actually that is quite good. So even if you're you're on turn 9 or 10 when you draw this, you're still going to be able to get the benefit of it. So there we go. That was episode 5, I believe. We've seen a couple of new cards here. We've got one right in front of us in the Mire Keeper. And hopefully we'll start to see even newer ones soon. Thanks everybody for watching this episode. Take care, and I hope you have a great day now.